Have you ever finished a book by your favorite author and thought, wow, this book hits different, easy 5 stars? And then you start to wonder, wait, what books do my favorite authors rate 5 stars? Do they love romance books because they write romance? Or do they read fantasy, literary, horror, or thrillers? Let's find out. In this video, I'm going to be reading my favorite authors' 5-star reads. Actually, is becoming one of my favorite tropes. Me out of the story. The sweetest thing ever. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. Hi, my name is Richie and I'm so glad that you're here. We're going to be starting off with Emily Henry because Emily Henry is one of my favorite authors. Her book Happy Place is literally one of the first books that I read as an adult and fell back in love with reading just because of how beautiful that one was written, and it will always hold a special place in my heart. So I just thought it makes sense to start off with books that she's rated 5 stars. I went onto her Goodreads profile and there's quite a few books that she's rated 5 stars, and as part of this challenge I also want to try and knock off some books off my physical TBR and see if any of my favorite authors have rated books that I've already got on my shelf. So anyway, I have 2 books on my shelf that she's rated 5 stars, one of them being How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwang, which she actually has a little thing at the top saying I'll read anything she writes, an absolute star. I'm pretty sure Yulin Kwang is also directing the Beach Read movie, correct me if I'm wrong. We love a multi-talented woman. And then the other book is called The Fastest Way to Fall by Denise Williams, and this one also she has a little blurb saying the perfect feel-good read. I wasn't sure which book to go with for this video. I do want to read How to End a Love Story, but I know a lot of people have read it and a lot of people have like enjoyed it and stuff, but I've never heard anyone talk about The Fastest Way to Fall, and this is a random book that I picked up and it's just been on my TBR since then, so I thought we should go with this one. On Goodreads she added a little review with her 5-star rating saying that this was just really sweet and nice, a true comfort read, which is one of my favorite kinds. And I thought that was great because I do want a little bit of a comfort read. I've been reading pretty intense books and I just wanted something a little bit lighthearted, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see because I know Emily Henry can come off as like only a rom-com author, but I feel like her books and her characters always have a lot of depth to them, so it'll be interesting to see if Denise Williams also writes like that. And yeah, anyway, this is our first book for this video. The Fastest Way to Fall for a little bit. I'm not too far in, but I thought I'd give an intro into like what's even happening. I feel like it's kind of confusing to explain, but basically it follows Britta and Wes. Britta is a editor at like a lifestyle magazine. I think she's like an editing assistant, and then Wes is a CEO of a fitness app called FitMe, and his ex is also a CEO of a different fitness app called How to You, something like that. And basically Britta and her rival at work basically decide to kind of tag team and do a article kind of reviewing both apps and seeing like which app is better. And yeah, so far that's just like what has been happening, and you kind of get a little bit of insight into Britta and who she is. Honestly, she's really funny so far, and you also get little chapters in Wes's point of view and his life and stuff. I feel like there's like some backstory happening with him, with his family, because he's mentioned his mom and his sister like briefly, not him but like people in his life. I'll catch you guys if I have any more updates. We'll see how we go with this one. It is actually the next day. I've been reading more and more of The Fastest Way to Fall. I'm actually really enjoying it, which I guess I shouldn't be so surprised if Emily Henry liked it and rated it 5 stars. I'm pleasantly surprised. I kind of just thought it would be like a fun little rom-com, which it is. Like, it is a fun little rom-com, but there's like other things going on, and I'm just like getting excited and like wanting to know more about like the characters and their past, and well, one of the past, like Wes's past specifically, and also like how it's gonna come together and how like they're actually gonna get together, because right now it's still like such a build-up of like their friendship. And like I just like love when there's like friendship before romance. Sometimes it just is really sweet and you can see like they kind of like have something there, but like they just don't want to like act on it, and but they do it in like a very platonic way, and they have a lot of banter, and I love banter, and I love how Emily Henry writes banter, so I'm really pleasantly surprised with how Denise Williams is writing the banter. Anyway, so far I'm enjoying it, so I'm gonna keep reading and I'll catch you guys if I have any more updates or anything else to let you know, but so far so good. sun coming into our living room. Hopefully, I feel like it's gonna blind me in a little bit, but anyway, my camera is like kind of playing up at the moment. I don't know if something to do with the audio is just like not coming through at all, and I don't know how I filmed it like that, but I filmed like separate update videos while I was reading The Fastest Way to Fall, and now none of them have audio, which is absolutely wonderful. And I have actually finished this book, and like I went on to read the next author's favorite book because like I thought all my clips were fine. I had a few thoughts throughout like reading this, because like I did kind of see like how Emily Henry would like this book. There is like a lot of banter between the male main character and the female main character, but and West like kind of developed a friendship before taking it any further. Like they kind of definitely had feelings for each other and there was attraction there, but I feel like because they knew they couldn't do anything since it was meant to be all professional for both ends, they were very friendly, so it became really banterous within their relationship, and they were like very like playful with each other, which I really liked. Like I thought that was like a bit more realistic given the circumstances. Okay, the sun was a bit too much in my face, so I just put the blinds down. There were two things in the book that I felt like kind of pulled me out of the story, and it kind of made the book feel like a bit too long, and also just felt like an unnecessary scene to happen in the book. Like I don't know how to explain it, so I'm giving this 3.5 stars. It's okay, it's not the best read but not the worst. Like it's just a fun feel-good romance if you want like a little palate cleanser kind of thing. The next author that I chose was Lila Sage. I'm really excited for this one because she is like a cowboy romance author, but I do feel like her books have a little bit more substance to them than just being a cowboy romance. There's always a few other issues that like the male main character, the female main character have, and I really loved her writing, and it was just such a bingeable series. I'm still reading her series, by the way, the Rebel Blue Ranch series. It's such a mouthful to say that, but anyway, I thought I would choose her and see, does she like cowboy romances or does she like contemporary romances? Like what's her kind of favorite genre? Is her writing style similar to the people that she reads? That's who I chose, and I was kind of deciding between two books that were already on my shelf that she has rated. One of them being You with a View by Jessica Joyce, and the other one was Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. You with a View, she didn't actually give any rating. She just said, I am blinded by the absolute vibrance of this book, a total joy to read, which is such a nice, sweet review. She didn't rate it 5 stars or anything, but for some reason I'm really drawn to that book. And then Forget Me Not, she rated it 5 stars, read it 2 times and said absolutely fucking phenomenal and horny, and so I wasn't sure which one to read, but I decided to go with You with a View. I actually started reading this. I'm like over halfway through the book. I have like genuinely enjoyed this so much. I can't even tell. There's just so many things I've underlined. I really am loving how the story is playing out. I've never read anything by Jessica Joyce before, and I think she's actually become my new favorite author because the way she describes like really small, simple things just makes everything sound so much more beautiful, and I don't know how to explain it. Like I'm genuinely in awe of her writing and just like how the story is playing out and the character development. I'm just like obsessed with it. Like literally I'm kicking my feet giggling reading this book, but then I'm also like about to cry. Basically this follows Noelle and Theo. Noelle is grieving the loss of her grandmother, and she's kind of been in a rut for like the past 6 months. She's going through some of her grandmother's belongings when she finds like these letters and photos of her and of her grandma and the man, and she posts like a TikTok saying like, my grandma passed away. She never told me about this person in her life before obviously she met her grandpa and stuff like that. TikTok goes viral, and then someone says that's my grandpa, and then they start talking and it turns out to be her high school rival, which I love. I think I'm like starting to love when people have a bit of history and then they come back. There's always like so much lore and like depth and angst to it. Like I don't know why, like it actually is becoming one of my favorite tropes. I'm just gonna continue reading You with a View. Like I said, I'm really enjoying it, so I'll come back if I have any updates, and yeah. Okay, so I finished reading You with a View, and I am so glad that I picked this book up and I picked this one to read, because I completely agree with Lila's review saying that this is a vibrant book. I just found it to be such a beautiful read. I love Noelle's character and I loved her development throughout it, from kind of feeling really sorry for herself and grieving, and also like, you know, grieving other parts of her life, not just her grandma, and trying to make sense of it all, and then becoming who she was at the end. Felt like the way it ended, it made so much sense in terms of her career. I just felt really connected to her and her story, and of the fear of failing and trying but then failing, and just like kind of getting over that and learning to just try and giving everything a go, because it's just worth trying, giving it a go, because you never know where you can kind of end up. And Theo, just honestly, I kind of loved his character. I feel like in some moments he felt like a broody character, but then sometimes he was just so charming and sweet and sensitive, and it was just really nice to see that. Is it dichotomy the word? I don't really know. I love the writing. Like, I absolutely adore Jessica Joyce's writing, and I cannot wait to read her other books. Like, she is an incredible author. I love the way she like describes things, the feelings. It's just like the way she describes feelings. I feel like you're just in the scene and you feel how intense their emotions are to each other, or like their attraction is to each other. There's so much angst in this book. I'm gonna give it 4.75 stars. Like, genuinely, I thoroughly enjoyed this so much. I am really glad that I read it. I was actually going to choose a different author to read one of their 5 stars, but I think I'm actually going to go with Jessica Joyce as my next author, because literally with one book she has become my favorite author. I would read anything she writes. I literally became so obsessed with her that I went and downloaded Substack and subscribed to her like newsletter thing. Jessica Joyce is going to be the next author that I choose from. I have a few options of books to possibly choose from. I've got Lost and Lassoed, which is part of the Rebel Blue Ranch series, and I think it's kind of cute that Lila and her have like read each other's books. And I have Beg, Borrow and Steal, which is part of the When in Rome series. And then she also rated Out of the Woods, which is by Hannah Burnham Young, which I've never read anything by Hannah Burnham Young. I've heard really great things about her books, and I actually just recently got it from the library because I did want to read it. So I think I'm going to choose Out of the Woods by Hannah Burnham Young. It will be fun to read a new author, and maybe I'll find another new favorite author, which would be crazy. But her review was really sweet and said, at this point I give Hannah Burnham Young book 5 stars before I even crack the spine. Sarah and Caleb, Illy forever. So I'm really excited to read this one. I think this kind of just follows this couple that have been married for a while and they're just trying to find the spark in their relationship. That's kind of all I know. That's just the gist I picked up from other booktuber reviews and stuff. I feel like I've only read romance recently, but I'm really enjoying my romance right now. Like, I just feel like obsessed with like angsty, tension driven romances. Anyway, I'll come back to you once I've started reading Out of the Woods. So I started reading Out of the Woods. I took a break and just like kind of washed off my makeup and stuff and did a little bit of a nighttime evening skincare routine, and I'm about to have a cookie, which if you don't love white chocolate macadamia cookies, please leave. They're like top tier. Like, obviously chocolate chip or anything to do with chocolate chip most people will love, but a white chocolate macadamia just hits so hard. They're like one of my favorite cookies ever, especially from Woolies. If you get like their bakery ones, literally top tier. Anyway, having a cookie and reading my book, which sounds like the perfect afternoon, perfect way to decompress. I am going to probably sit outside and read, because that's like become one of my new favorite things, to sit outside and read. And I really want to take advantage of reading outside and being outside more, because I know that once it actually starts becoming really gloomy and cold and dreary until like the end of November, I wouldn't want to be outside anyway. So I'm going to be outside as much as possible, as much as I can. So probably gonna do that and just like chill outside for a little bit. So far I'm like 30 pages in, so I've barely delved into anything, so I can't say if I'm enjoying it or not, but like so far so good. And we're also getting like a chapter in the present and a chapter in the past, which I think is really interesting. I don't think I really talked about like what the book is about, so I thought I would just read the blurb because I feel like it explains it better than whatever I'd explained it when I decided to read this one. High school sweethearts Sarah and Caleb Linwood have always been a sure thing. For the past 17 years they've had each other's backs through all of life's ups and downs, but Sarah has begun to wonder who is she without her other half. When she decides to take on a fundraiser in memory of her late mother, Sarah wants nothing more than to prove that she doesn't need Caleb's help to succeed. But the event fails and Caleb uninvitedly steps in to save the day. The rift that follows unearths a decade of grievances and doubts. Are they truly the same people they were when they got married at 19? Are they supposed to be? Desperate to save what they know they once had, Sarah and Caleb join a grueling week-long hiking trip intended to guide couples through rough patches. Can two nature-averse people fight their way out of the woods in order to find their way back to their roots? I feel like I summed it up pretty well. It kind of reminds me of Happiness for Beginners. Actually, it really doesn't. The only reason I think that is because in that book, or I watched the movie, I didn't read the book, but in the movie, like they go on a hiking trip, but they're like not a couple. They're just like, they know each other because I think the guy is like the girl's brother's best friend or something like that. I don't know. So I don't know why I think it's supposed to be really similar to that. It's literally just a hiking trip that's like making me think it's like that kind of vibe, but like that's kind of what I'm picturing. So far we've just gotten past the point where he has helped her with the fundraiser, so we got to see that play out, and now they're just kind of not speaking to each other. Anyway, I'm going to continue reading and give you more updates if I have any. been reading for a little bit. I made it to page 105, which I'm really proud of. I really feel like I can binge this book tonight, which I think is a crazy take for me. I don't know why I'm feeling like I can, but let's see. I've got like the house to myself tonight because my boyfriend has like a after work drinks kind of thing. So he's out, and so usually this means I get to have girl dinner. I get to watch whatever I want on YouTube, and usually like we watch like our show, which we've been watching Schitt's Creek together. But now I just get to watch some fun YouTube and read and do what I want. Not that I can't when he's here, but you know what I mean. I just got up to the part where like they have started hiking and stuff, and they're like camping. She was kind of struggling to sleep, and then he's like, do you want your e-reader? And she says, I didn't pack it. It would have only lasted a few days before the battery gave out anyways. Caleb smiles knowingly, his face still tilted up to the ceiling. I bought it and a solar charger. I didn't want you to lose your reading streak. Downloaded a couple of extra books too. I mean, that is like the sweetest thing ever. Like, what do you mean you bought a solar charger so she has an e-reader with her? I love that there's like little moments where they're obviously paying attention to each other, and like there's little things that like prove how much they do love and care for each other. But yeah, there's just like other things that they do need to work on and like talk about and things. But I just think it's really cute that it's like including all of that, and it's not always bad. It's just there are bad things, but you can work through it together, or you know what I mean? Anyway, I just thought that was really sweet. Okay guys, I did end up binging Out of the Woods last night. I don't know how I did it, but I was just like fully binging it. I think because I was home alone, it was just like the perfect setting for me to sit down and fully like immerse myself into the story. And so I really enjoyed this one. I loved Sarah and Caleb's story. I love that they were really fighting for the relationship. It wasn't really them against each other, it was them against the problem, and they like really learn the value of communication. And I think if you've been in a long-term relationship, it's easy to kind of like fall into a pattern and just assume everything's okay, because in the story Sarah is the one that's sort of feeling like she wants to break out and do something and be independent, whereas Caleb is like very happy in their life and how everything is. And I feel like it was done tastefully to balance like Caleb's emotions but also honoring what Sarah wants, which is a bit of independence and just sort of figuring her life out for herself, and like to feel like she's done something with her life and stuff. And I just like loved how it played out, and it was really sweet. Their relationship was very sweet, and even the end, like the epilogue, was amazing. I think it was like a really good way to wrap up, I think, the 2 books in the series, because it kind of wrapped up the first one as well, which I haven't read the first one in the series, and I think I will be kind of hearing snippets of Win and Bro's story. I really enjoyed it, so I think I will eventually pick up their book as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really sweet. I love that they talked about communicating and like listening to each other, and it was like such a strong theme that it was like them against like the issue rather than the issue coming in between them. Like they really tried to communicate, and I love the way that was highlighted throughout the story. I really liked the hiking trip sort of scenario as well, because I think that's a good way to kind of reconnect, and I really enjoyed this one. I'm giving it 4 stars. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the reading vlog. I'm really happy with this one. I had some really great reads this week, and I found a new favorite author, and I just like love that this allowed me to like kind of read new authors and not kind of stick to my comfort zone of authors I've already read and like their work of. So I'm really glad, because now I have more authors to delve into and more books to read, which is always fun. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys really enjoyed this reading vlog, and if you did, make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because that would mean so much to me. Please let me know what your favorite authors are, and that's about it. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye!